Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lin. Namaskar. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Iran's President Pezeshkian says some countries have begun mediation efforts to end the war. Says mediation should address those who ignited the war. Balendra Shah's RSP is heading towards a landslide victory in Nepal's elections, leading in 113 seats. And India's minister assures that the government will use every tool available to support exporters. Piyush Goyal says the interministerial group is in constant touch. In a new development amid the ongoing conflict in West Asia, the Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian says on Friday that some countries have begun mediation efforts to end the West Asian conflict involving the United States and Israel. In a social media post, Pezeshkian said that Iran supports lasting regional peace but will firmly defend its sovereignty and national dignity. He also said, and I quote, "Mediation should address those who underestimated the Iranian people and ignited this conflict." Meanwhile, fresh strikes have rocked Iran and Lebanon on Friday as Israel vowed to escalate a new phase in the West Asia conflict that has spiraled rapidly throughout the region and beyond. The war, now entering its seventh day, has dragged in global powers, upended the world's energy and transport sectors, and brought chaos to even usually peaceful areas of a volatile region. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said that Khyber missiles, they were fired towards Tel Aviv on Friday as part of its Operation True Promise 4. In a statement, the IRGC said the wave began with a combined missile and drone operation targeting sites in the heart of Tel Aviv. Powerful explosions shattered the skies above Iran's capital Tehran early on Friday as Israel said that it was striking regime infrastructure in the city. Internet coverage is running at about 1%, according to the monitor group Net Blocks, limiting information about the impact of the war on ordinary Iranians. In Tehran, the war has emptied the usually traffic-jammed streets, but residents they say that security forces are keeping a tight grip on the population. The conflict has spiraled across the Gulf. Kuwait confirmed 67 soldiers were injured in Iran's retaliation campaign, the highest toll among Gulf militaries. Bahrain reported Iranian strikes on a hotel and residential building in Manama, while Qatar said its air defenses had thwarted a drone attack on the US base at Al Udeid. Saudi Arabia destroyed multiple drones and missiles near Riyadh, prompting Western embassies to shelter staff. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held security consultations with top officials in Israel as the conflict involving Iran and Hezbollah continued to escalate, according to footage released by the Israeli government's press office. This happened on Friday. The meeting included the Defense Minister Israel Katz and the Shin Bet leader David Zini. Israel has continued strikes against Iran and Hezbollah in Lebanon as part of the ongoing conflict, while missile barrages from Iran and Hezbollah have sent millions of Israelis into shelters. Apart from targeting Gulf countries, Iran has been saying that it will attack any ship trying to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, a critical waterway for about a fifth of the world's oil and gas, and reacting to which Israel's ambassador said, in fact, to the United Nations, this is the ambassador to the United Nations, Danny Danon, stated that Tehran's missile volume is declining and said that its ability to disrupt the Strait of Hormuz will be severely diminished within days.
We are advancing It is only a matter of time before the rocket fire is minimized and their capabilities are dismantled. Every day, their capabilities shrink. Every hour, we, together with the US, degrade, destroy, and dismantle their launch sites and stockpiles. The volume of missiles they are firing is already falling, and we are only 6 days in. They are getting weaker and weaker. Give us a few more days, it will be much, much harder for the Iranian to disrupt the vessels coming through the Strait of Hormuz.
And the United Nations Human Rights Chief Volker Turk has warned that large-scale evacuation orders issued by Israel for parts of Beirut and southern Lebanon raise serious concerns under international humanitarian law. The warning came after Israeli airstrikes targeted Hezbollah-controlled areas, and authorities ordered thousands of residents to leave, while Hezbollah urged Israelis near the border to evacuate.
The crisis sparked in the Middle East 1 week ago following US and Israeli attacks on Iran and Iran's counterattacks has been spreading like wildfire. It is causing significant damage in Iran, in Israel, and at least a dozen other countries, mostly in the Gulf, with risks of major economic and environmental ramifications across the world. The world urgently needs to see steps to contain and extinguish this blaze. But instead, we are only seeing more inflammatory, bellicose rhetoric, more bombings, more destruction, killings and escalation that fuels it further.
The United Nations expressed concern over the global energy supply, describing the situation as very, very worrying. The UN spokesperson Staffan Jurek warned that rising energy prices are directly hindering the UN's operations and humanitarian aid.
We all know as soon as the price of energy, of oil, of fossil fuels go up, it has a direct impact on just about everything, including UN operations. And where this is happening in a world that is still, sadly, very much addicted to fossil fuels, and we live in an era where we live at the mercy of energy that is being extracted far from homes. If you live outside of the Gulf, which is creating all sorts of risks. So it's something he's very much aware of.
The Sri Lankan Navy offloaded 208 crew members from a second Iranian vessel off the island's coast a day earlier, following a U.S. submarine strike on the first Iranian warship in the same region that left 87 people dead and several others missing. President Anura Kumara Dissanayake told a press briefing that the ship was near the port of Colombo in the country's exclusive economic zone, but outside its maritime boundary. The first ship, IRIS Dana, was sunk on the 4th of March, 19 nautical miles off Sri Lanka's southern port city of Galle. Video and photographs released by the Sri Lankan Navy show survivors being transferred from lifeboats onto stretchers. And this is at the Galle Naval Base, before being taken to hospital in ambulances. 32 sailors were rescued, and they are being treated at the National Hospital in Galle. Nepal's Rashtriya Swatantra Party, led by Balendra Shah, is heading towards a landslide victory in the country's first general election since the youth-led protests. And of the total 165 seats in the contest, in fact, the numbers of 150 seats have been coming in by the evening, and the trends so far show a strong lead for the Rashtriya Swatantra Party. In fact, by the evening, the party was ahead in 113 out of 150 constituencies. Among other parties, Nepali Congress, led by Gagan Thapa, is leading in 10 constituencies, while the CPN-UML, led by KP Sharma Oli, is ahead in 11 constituencies. And still to come here on DD India Live. President Stubb says that AI and quantum computing these are key areas of cooperation between Finland and India. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Mark Lynn. The Indian ambassador, Sibi George, met the Swiss State Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Alexander Fezel, on the sidelines of the 11th Raisina Dialogue 2026 in New Delhi on Friday. The Secretary West in the Ministry of External Affairs, Sibi George, held discussions. They held discussions on various issues. Diverse sectors and views were exchanged on regional and global developments. The implementation of the India-EFTA Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement will foster technological collaboration, quality investments, and also create job opportunities. Finland's President Alexander Stubb says that he's had productive discussions with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi. President Stubb who is the first Finnish head of state, in fact, in 30 years to visit India, spoke extensively about bilateral ties in an interview to DD India on Friday.
I found him very astute, intelligent, analytical. It was a very good conversation. I think if you're the Prime Minister of India, you've been elected 3 times, you're the head of government of the biggest democracy in the world. You can talk about a range of issues, from artificial intelligence to trade to geopolitics to conflicts to transatlantic relations and many other things. So I really thoroughly enjoyed the 3 hours I had the opportunity and honor to spend with the Prime Minister of India.
And President Stubb also says that AI and quantum computing, these are key areas of cooperation between Finland and India.
We have over 20,000 Indians in Finland, which for a small country is a big number. Most of them are basically engineers or tech nerds, as I say. It's a great addition to the Finnish population. I think we can work together on 3 accounts in tech. The first one is networks. Remember that in order for tech or AI to work, we need networks, and Nokia is one of the biggest in the world. It has about 50% of the 5G here in India. The second one is quantum. We have 2 companies that are top 10 in the world, and quantum is what's needed basically to feed AI. And then third, we have a really strong space/satellite sector.
You can watch the full interview at 8:30 p.m. on DD India tonight. The External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. S. Jaishankar, asserted that the era of big deals between dominant powers is over, stating that global multipolarity is now an irreversible reality rooted in shared historical experiences. He was speaking at the Raisina Dialogue 2026 in New Delhi, which is the capital of India, on Author's Corner, the geometry of power. The minister, Jaishankar, he said that expecting the world to remain frozen in the realities of 1945 or even 1989 is unrealistic. And he noted that power today has significantly spread across multiple dimensions, moving beyond the control of a select few powers.
This was the order by the West, for the West, from the West. Now, it doesn't mean that others didn't use it. Smart people did, smart countries did. But when we look back at these 70 years, I think the expectation that we can freeze a 1945 or a 1989 forever was a very unrealistic one.
And the Finnish president also spoke at the session, and he stressed that the ongoing conflicts show the urgent need for a new multilateral movement, and a moment, in fact. And he added that the costs of the current multipolar world is too high, and that nations must come together to forge a new covenant for peace and security.
We come to what is the call for peace and security. Well, we can see it right now, and this is what makes me so optimistic that we're going to have this new multilateral moment. And so I try to see the silver lining and say, well, because we're seeing what's going on in the Middle East, we're seeing what's going on in Ukraine, we're seeing what's going on in Sudan, therefore we need to come together to some kind of a new covenant, because actually the cost of multipolarity is too high right now.
India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal on Friday said that the recently created inter-ministerial group has been in regular touch with exporters amid tensions in West Asia that invariably disrupted trade as well as shipping lines. Speaking to the media persons, the minister said that India is in fact holding talks with the shipping ministry and companies in the sector to free up cargoes marooned by the disruption of key global trade routes. He added that India will always look at ways to ease the burden on exporters, such as the high cost of insurance and cargo shipments.
I think all of you know we have set up a help desk. Every day the interministerial group talks to the exporters. Even this morning they must have had an engagement. They take feedback, and we will not be found wanting in supporting our exporters in any way. We should continue to meet all the commitments that we have made to our buyers, whether in goods or services, and the government will use every policy tool and the export promotion mission to support our exporters. I have already given some instructions in the last 2 days also. As I get to the office today, we'll be formalizing some ways to give comfort to our exporters. We are in dialogue with the Ministry of Shipping and with all the shipping companies also, and I do hope we will find resolution to this issue also. We are working with them to see how that burden our exporters can be supported with, but I can assure you this government stands with our industry and will continue to ensure that all our international commitments are met, because that is what defines India. Even during COVID, India met all its international commitments, which earned us the acronym of a trusted partner. And we will continue to be the trusted partner of the world.
Well, earlier this week, an interministerial group for supply chain resilience was created, comprising members of the Departments of Financial Services, Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Shipping, Ports and Waterways, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, and the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. They are facilitating effective coordination, monitoring and follow-up. The Chief of Naval Staff, Admiral Dinesh Kumar Tripathi, was also present at the Raisina Dialogue, where he highlighted India's commitment to Atmanirbharta, or self-reliance in defence, while actively collaborating with partner countries.
We in India obviously believe in Atmanirbharta and self-reliance, as are many other countries, and we deal with many our partner nations to develop capabilities in the defense sector based on co-development and co-production. We as a country are fully aware as to how to work with many partners.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday addressed the post-budget webinar on the theme Agriculture and Rural Transformation via video conference. The webinar brought together stakeholders across key sectors, including agriculture, animal husbandry and dairying, fisheries, as well as rural livelihoods. So they deliberated on the opportunities offered by Bharat Vistar, the AI-powered digital public infrastructure for agriculture. And speaking during the webinar, the Prime Minister focused on leveraging India's diverse agro-climate zones, and this is to boost high-value agriculture with special emphasis on region-specific crops like coconut, cashew, cocoa and sandalwood. Let's listen.
हमारे पास डाइवर्स क्लाइमेट है, हमें इसका पूरा फायदा उठाना है। एग्रो क्लाइमेटिक जोन, उस विषय में हम बहुत समृद्ध हैं। इस साल का बजट इन सब बातों के लिए अनगिनत नए अवसर देने वाला बजट है। प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़ाने की दिशा तय करता है और एक्सपोर्ट ट्रेंड को बढ़ावा देता है। बजट में हमने हाई वैल्यू एग्रीकल्चर पर फोकस किया है। नारियल, काजू, कोको, चंदन ऐसे उत्पादों के रीजनल स्पेसिफिक प्रमोशन की बात कही है। केरल के किसानों को अतिरिक्त लाभ हो, तमिलनाडु के किसानों को अतिरिक्त लाभ हो, इसलिए इस बार कोकोनट पर एक विशेष बल दिया गया है, जिसका फायदा आने वाले दिनों में हमारे इन किसानों को मिलेगा।
Let's get you some sports news now. In dire need of 3 points, Real Madrid are headed to the Estadio Abanca Balaidas to take on Celta Vigo, on Friday night. The 15-time European champions, they come into this fixture off the back of 2 consecutive league defeats, which sent their La Liga title push into a tailspin. Now trailing Barcelona by 4 points, Los Blancos cannot afford another slip if they want to steal the Spanish crown from their bitter rivals. Tottenham Hotspur's relegation worries grew after a 3-1 home defeat to Crystal Palace in the Premier League on Thursday. Dominic Solanke gave Tottenham the lead in the 34th minute, but the game changed when defender Mickey van de Ven was sent off for a foul on Ismaila Sarr, who scored the penalty, in fact, to equalize. So what happened is that Crystal Palace then took control, and Jorgen Strand Larsen scored before half-time, and Sarr added his second goal after an assist from Adam Wharton. The defeat leaves Tottenham just above the relegation zone. Walid Regragouia stepped down as the coach of Morocco on Thursday, only months after the FIFA World Cup 2026, ending weeks of speculation around his future. Regragouia took Morocco to the World Cup semi-final in Qatar in 2022 and was also at the helm in January when Morocco lost in the final of the Africa Cup of Nations. Mohamed Koubi will take over as the new coach of the Morocco national football team. He was in charge when Morocco won the Under-20 World Cup in Chile last year. A sports facility in Tucson is preparing to host Iran's national football team ahead of the upcoming FIFA World Cup. But those plans were thrown into doubt when the US-Israeli campaign against Iran began over the weekend with strikes that killed the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. Now, Iran has chosen the Kino Sports Complex in Tucson as its base camp for the tournament, which will run from June 11 to July 19. The team is scheduled to play in the group stage matches in the United States, with 2 games in Los Angeles and 1 in Seattle. Organizers in Tucson say that they are in daily contact with FIFA as they continue preparations for the team's arrival. That's all we have in this edition of DD India Live, but let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those of you on the go, you can get the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app, available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code and download it now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Mark Lynn from all of us here in Delhi. Thank you very much for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.